This encounter comes from Christine, the creator behind the YouTube channel Nomad Unknown, where she documents her life as a solo traveler and van dweller, moving from place to place and capturing the quiet beauty of nature in the open road. After enduring several emotionally heavy days, Christine was searching for comfort and a sense of calm. Hoping to clear her mind, she planned a quiet overnight stay deep in the forest, believing the isolation would bring peace and reset her spirit. But what she walked into was anything but calming. Instead of solace, the trip would unfold into something deeply unsettling, turning her search for comfort into an experience that left her uneasy.
Getting out of a funk that I've been in for the past maybe week or so. Last time you saw me, I was leaving Texas and heading into Louisiana. I don't know if it was evident in that video, but I was really already having a hard time. And when I entered into Louisiana, I had an itinerary and all these plans, and I've done nothing. I am starting to feel better, and I just want to ride that wave of just continuing to do a little bit at a time to help myself feel better and do the things that really take care of me. So I'm sitting outside my car, outside my home, at a trailhead, and I'm trying to decide whether or not I have it in me to go on a backpacking trip. I planned to do this backpacking trip and I wanted to do a ton of miles and really push myself, but I think I am gonna go because it feels really nice to be outside, but I think I'm just gonna do a handful of miles or something, set up my tent someplace, and just kind of take it easy on myself, because sometimes just doing a little bit is all you can ask of yourself. This trail I'm out here hiking is in the Kisatchie National Forest in Louisiana, and it's called the Wild Azalea Trail, and it's arguably the best trail in Louisiana. So, pretty excited. It should also be the season for azaleas. So hopefully we'll get to see some beautiful azaleas in bloom. So here we are, and I'm enjoying myself. I'm already feeling so much better today. And I do think that part of what got me down was loneliness.
Christine arrived at the location and began hiking along the trail. At first, everything felt normal, the path quiet and empty. After a while, she stopped to settle in one spot, but in that moment, something caught her attention, a subtle detail that didn't belong there, and immediately set her nerves on edge.
You ever just come across somebody and the energy is just off? That is what's been happening to me a little bit today. I'm about 3 miles in and I found this spot that I would really love to camp. But just as I was getting here, I saw somebody that I've seen twice already today. The first time I saw him, he only had a water bottle in his hand, no backpack or anything. And I saw him at the trailhead where I parked my car as I was still pulling things out of my car. And at that point, as soon as he saw me, he sort of turned around and headed back onto the trail. I've seen him 4 times, I just realized. And then I saw him as I was hiking. I'd started with my pack up the trail, and he came from behind me, still with just the water bottle. And I didn't hear him at first, but it kind of startled me a little bit. So I moved over to let him go past, and that time was the first time I said, "Oh, hello." And he just said, "Hi." The next time I saw him, he was at a crossroads, and it looked like he was loading things into his car to leave. But I guess he was pulling a backpack out, because even though I didn't say anything to him at that point, I literally just got across this bridge that's behind me, and it was filming some of the wild azaleas. And there he came from behind me again, this time with the backpack on, like an overnight backpack. And I said, "Oh, hello again." I might have even filmed that, although I didn't film him. And again, he just said hi. Nothing There's nothing concrete that's wrong with any of that, but it's the feeling of it. I mean, if you watch my other videos, I encounter solo men hiking as me, a solo female, all the time. But something about the energy of this particular individual has me on edge a bit. So I was just at the point where I had seen this place and decided I wanted to camp here. And he passed me on the trail. And I was stopped and I just stood there by the flowers, like filming them. And then I think he was out of sight by the time I came over here, but I haven't set anything up yet. I just set my pack down and I've just been hanging out, just trying to get a feel for the place and make sure that he's not around anymore. This is probably just paranoia, but one of the ways that I stay safe, the primary way that I stay safe, is by responding to these instincts. And since I've been here, a whole other group of men has passed. They were all wearing matching colored t-shirts. And they were going the other direction, the way from where I came. So I'm just hanging out, just seeing how things feel. It's not too late for me to go back to the car. It's not too late for me to go back to the car.
She first noticed the man while packing her things into the car. He stood nearby holding only a water bottle. At the time, she didn't think much of it, but then she saw him again. By the second encounter, she spotted him on the trail, still carrying nothing but the same bottle. Trying not to overthink it, she brushed it off as coincidence. As he passed her, she called out a friendly hello. He replied with a brief hi and kept walking in the opposite direction. She tried to convince herself it was nothing, but not long after, she noticed him again, lingering close by. This time, she greeted him once more, hoping for some acknowledgement or conversation. Instead, he said nothing. He quietly began packing a backpack as if preparing to leave the area. She felt a brief sense of relief, thinking that was the end of it. Then, for the fourth time, she saw him again. She was crouched down taking photos of flowers when she noticed him standing nearby, now wearing the backpack. That was when the unease truly set in. Her thoughts raced. Was she being followed, or was her mind playing tricks on her? She considered leaving, but dismissed the feeling and returned to her campsite, trying to enjoy the calm. But after a short while, she noticed something else, something that sent a chill straight through her.
The area that I was looking across at, you see, there's the bridge, you can see that. And then the backpack's right there. I was thinking I was going to camp over there, but I looked over and I saw this area here, the clearing, and I thought, you know what, that's a bit more hidden from trail. I might feel more comfortable and secure over there, so I came over. Why is there a trail cam pointing to that campsite? I don't really know how those things work. Maybe it's not visible on the camera, but like, what else is it pointing at? Like, here's the trail cam. What is it pointing at? Putting my camera right behind. My backpack is right there. That's where I was going to camp. Like, that's an established campsite. Looks like this one is too. But what the heck is going on here? First, weird energy. Second, a trail cam pointed at a campsite? Oh, I think one strike, two strike. I gotta get out of here before 3 strikes and I'm out.
She then noticed something that shattered any sense of safety she had left. A camera was pointed directly at her campsite, straight at where she had planned to sleep. In that moment, her chest tightened as unease took hold. This was no coincidence. It felt deliberate. Someone had been watching her from the moment she arrived. She had not noticed the camera at first, only discovering it after she had settled in, letting her guard down and trying to find peace. That realization hit hard. She was not alone. Someone had been monitoring her, and that man she kept encountering no longer felt random. Everything suddenly connected. If this was happening in broad daylight, her mind raced with what could happen once night fell. The woods would be dark, quiet, and isolated, and she would be completely alone. That thought alone was enough to push her into action. Christine immediately abandoned her camping plans. Trusting her instincts over curiosity or adventure, she decided she would not spend the night in that place. The fear she felt was real, and the risk was too great to ignore. Some viewers later claimed she may have overreacted, but others understood the truth. It is always safer to leave and question your decision later than to stay and become another cautionary tale. Christine chose her instincts and walked away, leaving the forest behind with a chilling memory and disturbing questions. Why was someone watching her, and what did they intend to do? Those answers remain unknown. Meet Lisa, the creator behind the channel Asleep 5 Decades, where she documents her life on the road and the realities of living full-time in a van. Traveling across North America, she moves from place to place, sharing quiet overnight camps and the sense of freedom that comes with them. But on February 14, 2022, that freedom was interrupted. Lisa was parked alone in a secluded area, settled in for the night, when something broke the silence. In the middle of the night, she was jolted awake by unfamiliar sounds outside her van. Then came the knocking, sharp, deliberate, close enough to make her heart race. Unsure of who or what was outside, fear took over. With trembling hands, Lisa reached for her camera and began recording, knowing that whatever was happening beyond the thin metal walls of her van did not feel random and was anything but safe.
Somebody's back here again. I hear footprints. Hello? How can I help you? It's 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe. Who are you? So, it's now 4:57, but at 4:37, so like 20 minutes ago, I was in a dead sleep, and I was woken from a knock, like right where my head is, ironically. So I was like frozen. I looked at the time, and it was very strange to me, like who would be knocking on the van at 4:30 in the morning. So by the second knock, I believe it was second, could be the third knock, and they would knock 3 times every time. I just mustered, hello? And no answer. The person was on a bike, like a pedal bike, like a 10-speed bike, a mountain bike or something, and they were up the drive. And so I just came and lied back down and trying to register what the hell just happened, who was that, what did they want, what were their intentions, and all I could think about is they were probably planning on robbing what was ever inside the van. So I just kind of like went back to sleep, or lied back down, went back to bed, I should say. And about 15 minutes later, I hear it again, like a knock on the side of my van again. How can I help you? And they say, I got a question for you. And I said, it's 4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe. And so I quietly got up and I went to the front and I peeked out and parked way up on the drive. All I could see is like headlights, and then they backed out and went and left. So I'm not feeling so safe, you know. I just don't even know what to make of it. Like, what were they thinking? I do sleep with this beside my bed, and I never thought that I would have to pull it out or grab it. And I did.
Suddenly, there was a knock on the window beside where she was lying. Not random, not accidental. Each knock was slow and deliberate. Every time Lisa called out, there was no reply, no voice, no movement. This happened 3 separate times, each one tightening the fear in her chest. When she finally caught a glimpse outside, she saw the figure responsible was on a pedal bike. Moments later, it disappeared into the darkness. Relief washed over her as she convinced herself it had only been a passerby and tried to calm down. But the night was far from over. Sometime later, the sounds returned. More knocking, footsteps again, closer this time. Then she noticed something. A car had pulled up far away from her van, positioned just close enough to be intentional, but far enough to feel wrong. When Lisa called out once more, a voice finally answered, saying that, "I've got a question for you." The words sent a jolt of fear through her. This was no coincidence, no harmless stranger. Someone was out there, lingering, testing her, trying to draw her out into the dark. Panic surged as the reality set in just how exposed she was. And just when she thought it might be over, the silence returned, heavy and deceptive, leaving her with the terrifying feeling that whoever was outside hadn't truly left at all.
I hear footprints. Hear that? Yeah, somebody was just here again 3 times now. The 3rd time I looked out, they were walking on foot. I seen them walking and they hid behind the tree there. And then they went to a car, the same car that was here earlier. Well, that was back, and then it backed away and left again. 3 times in one night. This time, they didn't knock though. They were just walking around. I could hear them walking around the van. But I'm not feeling so safe. Like, I'm just feeling like, I don't know.
The footsteps came back, but this time there were no knocks. Whoever it was simply moved around her van, slow and deliberate, circling it in the darkness. Chills ran down Lisa's spine as she lay frozen inside, listening to each step pass by her walls. She had no idea what this person wanted or why they were lingering so close, only that their presence felt intentional and deeply wrong. The rest of the night passed without another incident.
So I come out this morning and you can see footprints. Look at this one. This is mine. I'll show you. There's mine. See? Right here. Look. Somebody spilled 2 of my water bottles right there. 8 liters of water gone, but I don't know why. I don't know why they were, look, see? And then over here, these are like literally footprints. I never go there. If I collect my snow, I go right on this path and I cross over here, and that's my spot right there. But look, they were actually, there's some more, look at that. They came here, they were standing here, as you can see. Look at the footprints though, look at that, that's massive. See that? Like, this worries me, like, oh my God. Yeah, this has me really concerned. Nothing's here because it's all melted already, but yeah, so, oh, here we go. Here's a couple right here, there and there. Here's, I'll put, there's my print again. Okay, there.
I certainly don't want to be put in a situation where I have to use force, like where I have to, if somebody tried to break in my van, well, they would probably be the one getting hurt, because I've got many, many ways of protecting myself, and believe me, I would do what I have to do to defend myself, especially, you know, that was a trigger, and
when I get triggered, well, I'm not thinking straight, and so I definitely would not be responsible for my actions. That I know for sure. Like last night, I was seriously, not last night, I mean Friday night, early Saturday morning. I didn't sleep after that. Really, really couldn't. When the knock first happened, the first knock, when it woke me out of my sleep, I didn't even know how to respond. Like I was not prepared for that. And so, yeah. But anyways, I always sleep with the knife open right beside the bed. But I do have bear spray. I have an axe, and well, I do have other things, and they're just randomly placed throughout the van. But yeah, but I just had to share that experience. It's all about staying safe. I think they knew. They obviously knew that I was in there because of where they knocked. Like they didn't knock on the passenger door, the driver's door. They knocked like by the rear well. So they know, or he knew, that I was living in there. So I feel like I'm being watched, and I just got to be a little bit more careful.
When morning arrived, Lisa stepped outside and noticed footprints pressed into the snow just beside her van. Then she realized something even more unsettling. Her water bottles had been deliberately emptied. It was another sign that someone had been there, close enough to linger, close enough to interfere. As she reflected on the night, one detail stood out above all others. Whoever came to her van knew exactly where she was sleeping. They did not knock on the driver's door or the front of the vehicle. They knocked directly beside her head, on the window where she had been lying. She still could not understand why this person kept returning, circling her van again and again in the darkness. Trusting her instincts, she never opened the door or stepped outside, knowing that sometimes hesitation is the only thing that keeps you safe. She left the secluded area unharmed, but the question stayed with her. What did that person want, and how long had they been watching? In places like that, the danger is not always isolation or animals. Sometimes it is people who are far more frightening. The intentions of that person were never revealed, turning the encounter into a mystery that may never be answered. But the experience left a lasting mark on Lisa. It exposed just how vulnerable she was in that moment, alone and far from help. That night changed her perspective forever, reshaping how she viewed solitude and safety as a solo traveler. This footage comes from Todd Champion, the creator behind the channel Camping with Champion. Known for pushing the limits of stealth camping, Todd regularly sets up camp in places most people would never consider, under bridges, atop massive billboards, or deep in the woods, all driven by a love for adventure and the thrill of staying unseen. On August 30th, 2025, he headed out for what was supposed to be just another stealth camping trip, this time along a highway. For those unfamiliar, stealth camping means pitching camp in hidden or unconventional locations, often without permission, relying on secrecy to avoid attention. The plan was simple. Todd slipped into a small cluster of trees just behind the highway, hidden enough to stay out of sight. He took time to scan the area, listening and watching for any sign of people nearby. Nothing appeared out of place. As night fell, the road noise faded into the background, and the area seemed completely empty, almost too quiet.
I am back in my spot. Oh my gosh. Thought I saw someone. I'm back in my spot. That same guy that I saw earlier when I went to check the dumpsters was back again. I was just trying to get some cool shots riding the scooter or whatever, and he just popped up out of nowhere. And then he started asking me he's like, do you need me to help you film or something like that? Did I want him to hold the camera or something? I was like, no, I'm good. Then he was like, where are you camping at? And I was just like, just down the road. I shouldn't even have said that much, but. And then he asked me if I wanted someone else to camp with you. What? Dude. What the crap? That was nuts. This just went from not too risky of a stealth camp in my opinion, because these cars are not gonna see me, I don't feel like. But someone on foot could easily find me, and he knows that I'm probably in the area because he's seen me twice now. I don't think he would expect me to be in these bushes though. In case you are wondering how he knew I was camping, the first time I saw him when I was at the dumpsters, he asked me if I lived around there, and I said no, I'm camping nearby and I just came to check out the dumpsters. So that's how he knew I was camping. Oh my gosh, I'm scared to cook now. I'm scared he's gonna come walking by and smell it. Oh my God, he really thought I was gonna invite him back to hang out? Like what? Oh my gosh. I'm really hungry too. I'm starving, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cook. I'm gonna get my little table out so I can set my stove on it. I'm only gonna turn the light on just to show you the progress because I don't really want to have my light on too much. So.
Near a dumpster, Todd crossed paths with a man and they struck up a brief conversation. Todd casually mentioned that he was camping nearby, even pointing out roughly where his spot was. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal, just a curious passerby making small talk. Todd laughed it off, shaking away the odd feeling, and headed back to camp to prepare his dinner. But as he sat there eating, the mood shifted. The quiet felt heavier, tense. That's when something unsettling happened, and the night stopped feeling routine.
I'm gonna finish eating, then we'll read comments from last week's video. That guy's back. You hungry?
No.
I got a sandwich here.
I usually just walk around until daylight.
Really?
I've died 5 times in my life. I've been shot, I've been stabbed, I've been hanged 3 times. Each time they hang me to around about dead and they cut the road.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me walk down this way.
Got any kids or anything?
I got 4 kids.
How old?
Twin boys, 13, 2 girls, 16 and 15.
I got 2 boys.
Well, don't miss the little things in life. I'm just still growing up, man.
Yeah.
I miss mine.
I used to be a truck driver and I quit because my kids were little. Trying to do this, maybe I can do something better, you know.
Did you someone with you to help you do it?
My wife. I've been married for 15 years. Before I met my wife, dude, I was bad. And I probably wouldn't still be around if I hadn't met my wife.
Without warning, the same man from earlier emerged from the darkness and walked straight toward Todd's spot, then casually sat down right beside him. He immediately began talking, opening with unsettling remarks and bizarre stories about having died multiple times. Todd found it strange but stayed engaged, all while discreetly gripping his knife, preparing for the possibility that things could turn dangerous. The man shifted into asking personal questions about Todd's life, trying to draw him deeper into conversation. What made it truly disturbing was the realization that the stranger had deliberately followed him to his exact campsite. Todd hadn't expected him to show up at all, yet there he was, sitting far too close. That uneasy feeling returned stronger than before. Something about this man felt wrong, and his behavior only confirmed it.
That way. Or if they call. Good meeting you, brother. Mm-hmm. See you. So he just left. I'm packing up my stuff and I'm getting out of here. There's no way I'm staying here now. No way. I'll check back in once I get packed up. He came back again while I was packing up. Just showed me some little fan, rechargeable fan thing he had. It was really small. It's kind of neat. But I can see him walking down the highway now. I'm getting out of here. We'll talk more once I get somewhere I feel safe. Well, I got all my stuff packed up, got out of there. The last thing I packed up was my knife. The whole time we were talking, I had my knife out in my hand just in case. The guy just came in just came in my bush and started sitting down. He saw my stove flame. That was, I shouldn't have, oh my gosh, I knew it. I really didn't think he'd walk this far down. He kept saying, I don't know why I walked down this way. I never walked down this way. I recorded some of the conversation. I don't know what or how much I'm gonna post. A lot of the stuff he was saying would get me restricted on YouTube. He seemed like a good guy. He said he's a veteran of the Iraq War. He just had a lot of, problems like we all do. I felt really bad for him. I tried to give him some food. He didn't want it. He had water with him. Like, we talked for a while, but I made sure, like, I never threatened him or anything like that, but I'm sure he noticed the knife in my hand. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to instigate anything or scare him or anything like that. Just trying to say, hey, don't try anything, you know what I mean? I was talking to the guy and I said, oh, I'm camping around here. And I told him, because I was talking to the camera when he first saw me, I told him I made videos like dumpster diving and stuff like that. So he didn't know I was stealth camping. He just, I don't know, that was crazy that he walked all the way down there and saw me. He almost walked right past me too. Like, he looked back after he was past me and saw my flame from the stove. I couldn't get it turned off in time. I don't know. I'm sorry about this one, y'all. I hate it when stuff like this happens and I can't complete the camp, but I just can't chance it, Hey, just wanted to interrupt the video for just a second, because since that happened, I was actually able to look the guy up, and I found some drug charges from last month where he was arrested. So I'm thinking he probably had just gotten out of jail and was wandering around. He may not be completely homeless, I don't know. I would like to say that the guy, he seemed okay when I was talking to him. Yeah, there were some things, like there were some times when he seemed pretty normal, pretty okay. And then there was other times where he was saying some weird stuff. So that's really why I left. He may be the nicest guy in the world. I don't know. Another thing is that he told me he was an Iraqi war veteran. I thanked him for his service, offered him, made sure he had food and something to drink. He was all good. But he told me he had PTSD, and then sometimes he didn't know what he was doing. Like, he would lose control, thinking he was in war. Said he'd been banned from Walmart for having episodes in there. So it's like, I really didn't want to be out there with him if he goes into one of these episodes. I have no idea if any of that was true or not. All I can do is take him on his word, So I really didn't want to take a chance of being out there and he have an episode. I'm the only person out there at night that he knows of, So that really made me uncomfortable. And then plus earlier when he asked me if I needed anybody to camp with me, I felt like that was strange. Just want to drop in and say that I'm really sorry I didn't finish the camp, but it's just like, at that point it just wasn't worth it anymore. Like, there was no guarantee that he wasn't coming back. No way was I going to go to sleep. So it just felt like the camp was pretty much ruined at that point.
Then, without warning, the man asked to use Todd's phone to message his family. Todd hesitated but allowed it, and after nearly 20 minutes of tense conversation, the man eventually walked away. For a brief moment, it felt like the situation had ended, but it hadn't. The man returned once again, this time holding a small portable fan, casually showing it to Todd as if his presence there was completely normal. That was when Todd knew he couldn't stay. As soon as the man left, Todd began packing up, moving fast, trusting the feeling that something wasn't right. Later, Todd reflected on the encounter. On the surface, the conversation might have seemed harmless. The man spoke openly about minor crimes he had committed, sometimes rambling about his life and claiming he suffered from PTSD, losing control at times. Each story felt off, not outright dangerous, but enough to make Todd uneasy. The repeated visits, the casual intrusion into Todd's personal space, and the strange interest in his life set off alarm bells. The man's behavior didn't add up. Was he mentally disturbed? Were his stories true, or were they lies meant to unsettle him? What made this encounter abnormal wasn't the severity of the crimes. It was the combination of small, deliberate actions, following Todd to his camp, showing an unusual familiarity, lingering longer than necessary, and fixating on Todd's personal details. These red flags stacked up, creating a tension that no rational explanation could fully dismiss. Todd trusted his instincts and left immediately. Sometimes threats aren't obvious. They can hide behind casual words, a seemingly harmless presence, or the unsettling familiarity of someone watching your every move. For Todd, trusting that instinct may have been the only thing keeping him safe. This next footage comes from a creator named Noah. On April 19th, 2020, he uploaded a video to his YouTube channel, recounting what would become one of the most terrifying nights he had ever experienced. Noah had decided to spend the night camping inside his truck near Sun River, expecting nothing more than a quiet, uneventful stay under the open sky. But as the night went on, something happened that completely shattered that sense of safety. What started as a routine overnight camp slowly turned into an experience that left Noah deeply shaken.
So I was originally not gonna make this video just because I don't really have my setup or anything yet. But a few days ago I was camping in Sun River, and what I thought would be a good location to pull over to the side of the road in like this forest area and sleep, which I thought no one was really around, turned into someone trying to creep on me, creep in my truck while I was sleeping. So, and I got some GoPro footage of it. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of hear it in the background. But yeah, didn't really record after I got out and stuff. I'm currently sleeping in the back of my truck right now. I don't even know what time it is, and there's someone walking around my truck right now. If you can hear that, it's pretty loud. He's been walking around for like 20 minutes already. My gun's in my cab though. I don't really know what to do. I'm a little freaked out right now, and it's like pitch black outside, probably like 2 in the morning, and he just keeps walking around, and he's like really close to my truck. I've never been this scared, and like this doesn't make any sense because I parked somewhere where you couldn't see, no one was on that road. Wait, he's touching my truck. He's literally touching my truck. How am I supposed to get him away? He's literally knocking. He's literally knocking on my truck. The back door's locked. I've never been this scared before ever. I don't think he knows that there's anyone in here. I'm so scared right now. I wish I brought my gun back here. He keeps walking around. I don't get it. I'm like, how is he not? I've noticed. Doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna try to see if he goes away eventually. We'll see. He's literally peeking through the door right now. I've never been this scared ever. So, the current time is 2:30 in the morning right now. He's still walking around my truck. I'm gonna try to see if I can flash my light to get him scared. So he runs away. There he is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think I stopped. So I'm back home. This is the day after. He was trying to peek in my truck quite a bit with all these marks. I didn't even notice until I got home. Handprints there, a lot of scratches, stuff like that. Dragging his finger on my side of my truck. well, looks like to be trying to get inside my truck. That's really all I could tell from when he was walking around. That's new. Don't know how that got there. More handprints trying to get in my truck. At least the back canopy was locked, but yeah, that was the result. So that was probably the scariest camping experience I've probably ever had in my entire life. So yeah, well, I'll keep you guys updated and let you know. Thanks.
Noah parked his truck only after making sure the area was completely empty. The night felt quiet and safe until around 2 a.m. when the silence was broken by footsteps circling his truck. They weren't passing by. They were slow, heavy, and deliberate, as if someone was studying the vehicle from every side. Then came the knocking. At first it sounded cautious, almost like someone testing if anyone was inside, but it didn't stay that way. The knocks quickly turned hard and aggressive, striking the metal with force. Still, the person said nothing. No greeting, no question, just silence. Moments later, the door handles were being pulled violently, one after another. When they didn't open, the person moved to the canopy, peering inside and trying to force it open as well. Everything was locked, but he didn't stop. He began scratching the truck, dragging something along the metal in complete silence, leaving Noah frozen in fear. What made the situation even more disturbing was the fact that the man carried no flashlight or phone light at all, yet moved confidently in the darkness as if he knew exactly where he was and what he was doing. It felt intentional, like he already knew someone was inside. In a desperate moment, Noah flashed his high beams toward the canopy. Instantly, the figure bolted into the darkness, disappearing without a sound. Terrified that the man might come back, Noah didn't wait. He started the engine and drove straight home. Later, he shared the experience with his viewers, but no answers ever came. The person was never identified, and the reason for the attack was never known. Noah made it out safely, but the mystery of who that person was and what he wanted remains unanswered. Will is the creator behind the YouTube channel Will's Whereabouts, a space where he documents life on the road, stealth camping in his vehicle, slipping quietly into overlooked places, and turning his small home on wheels into a gateway to the outdoors. His videos usually capture calm nights and careful solitude, but on January 10th, 2021, that routine changed. While attempting another low-key stealth camp at Box Hill's National Trust car park, what was meant to be a quiet stop for the night slowly shifted into something far more unsettling. After cooking a simple meal and taking a short walk with his friend, Will eventually returned to the car park and chose a discreet spot to settle in for the night, believing the area was quiet and undisturbed.
I think this will do for tonight's stealth camping. Freezing cold! Earlier, as you saw, I cooked and had some delicious fajitas with a friend of mine. We went for a walk and then we were starving hungry, so I ended up having a nice early dinner, used my outside cooking platform, which a lot of you guys probably haven't seen because, to be honest, I haven't used it a lot because the weather just hasn't been nice for it. I have a few upgrades and things to show you guys, which I know some of you will definitely be interested in. I now have a carbon monoxide alarm, believe it or not, right here in the corner, so now, from now on, I won't kill myself or poison myself. Christ almighty. So tonight's stealth camp is actually in a place which I'm very familiar with. I haven't actually... Tonight's stealth camp sounds like I'm at a bloody drag race. Anyway, as I was saying, I am in a very familiar place. I actually used to live in this area with my parents a good few years ago now, and I used to work at a restaurant just round the corner, which is where I had my first ever job when I was about, how old? 16, 17 years old. Nah, what's this plonker doing? I'm in the beautiful countryside of Box Hill, which is in the Surrey Hills in the south of the UK. Tonight I'm actually going to be sleeping in the National Trust car park, right at the top next to Box Hill Viewpoint. I would highly recommend this place, not only just to sleep in for the night, well, I haven't actually stayed here yet, so watch the rest of the video to see how I get on, but in terms of walking your dogs or just going for a walk and getting out into nature and the countryside, this is a great place to come. Tonight's setup, As it always is, always the same from now on. I may do a few upgrades, but I'm not fully decided yet. As you saw, got the carbon monoxide alarm, and you won't be able to see, or maybe you can see, I also now have some window deflectors on each of the 4 windows, which means I can crack the windows 1 to 2 inches, which will stop any rain coming in and will at least get some oxygen flowing inside of here so that it's a bit more well ventilated. I'll quickly show you what it looks like from the outside. I'm literally parked as far back into the forest as I can.
The first warning sign of the night quietly revealed itself while Will was still talking to his viewers. In the background, the distant sound of car doors slamming echoed through the darkness, a subtle reminder that the area wasn't as empty as it had seemed. After finishing a brief setup and trying to brush off the unease, Will settled in and drifted off to sleep. But the calm didn't last. Without warning, he was violently jolted awake, his body snapping to alert as the silence of the night suddenly broke.
I don't think I'm going to be getting much sleep tonight. There are people about 100 meters away. And some people screaming. Wish me luck, everybody. We're all fogged up. Morning, guys. You probably wouldn't believe that it is actually 7:30 and it's pitch black outside. Decided to get the gas stove warmed up just to take the chill out the air and get a bit warmer because it's freezing.
He was suddenly jolted awake by loud, piercing screams coming from nearby. For a moment, he couldn't process what he was hearing or why anyone would be screaming like that in the dead of night. Fear rushed through him as he sat up, listening in silence. The screams sounded unmistakably human and disturbingly close, echoing through the darkness. He tried to make sense of it, telling himself it might be people he had seen earlier or some kind of late-night gathering. Then, just as suddenly as they began, the screams stopped. Complete silence followed. No footsteps, no voices, nothing. That sudden stop was the most unsettling part. The silence felt heavy, almost deliberate, and it kept him on edge for the rest of the night. When morning finally came, he left the area shaken. Who or what had been screaming in the darkness, and why it stopped so abruptly, remains a chilling mystery with no explanation. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment which encounter was most disturbing, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more chilling and disturbing content.